Frank McCrystal joining the Sports Cage. Frank, I got to first off say you were worried about you weren't able to figure out the streaming thing. I think you baited me in just like your old coaching days. I bought that and you went right over my head.
No, I think it must be very easy because I got it without too much trouble. So,
what's Frank McCrystal up to these days?
Well, I have people ask me that all the time, but I don't do very much. I get up and have a coffee, watch the news, go for a walk, and then a lot of my days are filled up with hanging out with my grandkids who are actually downstairs. I'm up in my office upstairs here, and I got 2 grandkids downstairs. So, hang around with them most of the time. Go for coffee with guys sometimes. So,
Yeah. Are the grandkids like football age yet? Playing the game?
Not yet. I've got a 4-year-old grandson, and I've got a almost 2-year-old granddaughter and another almost 2-year-old grandson.
Well, that 4-year-old can start playing flag this spring, I think, and then you should coach and then just scare the snot out of everybody when you walk on the field.
No, I don't think so anymore. Actually, he did play flag football this year, and it was good.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great league. Hardy Cup Saturday in Saskatoon at Griffith Stadium, a field that you know quite well from your days. 22 years since we've seen the Rams and the Huskies play in this game. Is that surprising it's taken that many years to have these two back in this clash, Frank?
I don't know. There's not that many teams in the league, and they both play pretty darn good football. So I don't really think about it, but when it's brought up and when you called me and talked to me about coming on here, I had to go back and think about it. And honest to God, I didn't even remember the score. I had to check what the score was. All of those things. I had coffee on Wednesday or yesterday. I'm sorry, with Bernie Schmidt. And my friend Ed Bankowski and Erwin Klempner, who was also a coach back in those days, and we talked about that game a little bit, what we could remember. So,
because I was working Global TV in Saskatoon, so I was covering that game there. You were just finishing, Craig, at Global Regina?
Yeah, I had left in 2000 and the spring of 2022, and so I had missed
202.
202. That's right. Yeah, and I had missed that game. So
what do you remember about that game now that you went back over coffee and all that, Frank? I think it was like Neil Hughes was hurt. That was one of the key things.
Yeah. That was a big thing. I mean, before the game, Lauren Calvert was there, the premier, which was kind of fun. And it snowed. And we took an extra 5 minutes. At halftime, we asked for extra time to clean the field, and all they did was clean the yard lines. And I know I came out from the dressing room and I said, "Why did we take 5 more minutes instead of cleaning the whole field off?" But you know what the problem was? It was the referee in chief, and he was actually from Saskatoon. So I blame that.
It never stopped. It never stopped, right?
I was just going to say it when Barney said he was with Saskatoon Global. I said, well, obviously this is the first time we would have ever spoken then. So
I remember interviewing Frank, and then you know what? That makes sense. The Saskatoon. Maybe a relative or something you mopped up. He was with the Hilltops the years before. It's great though. Like, are you following the Rams quite closely still, Frank?
I don't really follow them a lot. Like, I certainly know what's going on with them. And, Mark McConkey I'll talk to him sometimes, and we'll go for a coffee or a beer, and Bruce Anderson and that sort of thing. But, it's always a little more challenging. Like, it's their team, it's Mark's team now. And if Mark calls me and says, "Hey, what about this or that?" Certainly I would share with him. And I know that he's, from time to time, will talk to Bernie too about offensive stuff. But it's sort of like in the old days, Cal Murphy used to come when he was working for the Indianapolis Colts. He was a scout, and he would come and look at game film at our facility all the time, and I would ask him something. I go, "What about this at a practice or that?" And he says, "Well, are you asking me?" I said, "Yes, Cal, I'm asking you." So you got to make sure that you're being asked, I think, before you kind of hang around. So
That's good.
Frank, take us back to the junior days of the Rams, and then the decision to go to Canada West and the university route. The thought process back then and the challenges that you guys faced, because it wasn't an easy transformation, I don't imagine. And, because we're already talking 1 or 2 generations of kids now, because it's been a long university program, but it wasn't always, what were the thought process and challenges you guys had back then?
Well, to be quite honest with you, we were winning a lot in juniors. We really were. And I'm not saying that to kind of be a smart aleck or anything.
We won a lot.
Oh, trust me, I know. Yeah. It was like
the happiest people in the world were the Saskatoon Hilltops that the Rams were leaving.
Playing the damn Rams again. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Frank. Sorry.
It wasn't doing our guys any good. And it certainly wasn't doing some of the other teams. We were playing the Winnipeg team and beating them badly and it wasn't helping anybody. It wasn't helping anybody in relative to them getting better as football players or having a good experience that allows them to be more and better citizens. So we thought that we would give this a whirl, and we talked to a guy named Charlie Bailey that was coaching McGill at that time. Really good guy, and he was in town recruiting. And so I was able to get in contact with him, and we went out and had a coffee or a beer or whatever, and talked about it and what it would involve and so forth. So it was that sort of thing that caused us to make the move. And, we decided that before the 98 season, because we wanted everyone to have an opportunity to know that we weren't going to be in the league and to arrange everything from schedules to, what they may have to be challenged about too. So that was good. But once you get in there, I think you face some challenges. We were a pretty young team because we were still junior age, guys like Neil Hughes and Jason Claremont, terrific players, but man, they were like maybe 19, 20. Mm-hmm. And then we were playing, there was no age restrictions then, which I think they've gone back to now. And when there was no age restrictions, we were playing guys that were 26, 28. There's a guy walked on the field. We were playing the Dinos, and I said, "Oh, geez, look at that. That's a pretty young coach." And they go, "No, that's a slot back." He was number 32. He was 32 years old. So, those certainly were challenges in that respect. But I think the other thing that again, speaking from the Ram perspective, one of the real challenges we have is recruiting and getting people to come. This is, I think, the next biggest school in Can West is twice the size of the U of R in terms of student population, and we are essentially an undergrad university, so we don't have the colleges, that the other teams all have. So it would kind of be like Lumsden playing Campbell, if I'm talking to Regina, and that's to get to the Hardy Cup and to do what they've done this year is pretty darn impressive, really.
Was there Frank McCrystal joining us here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, legendary coach of the U of R Rams? Was there the Daryl Leeson effect too in those years? Because that's the name I remember being from Saskatoon. It's like this Daryl Leeson guy. Like, Jesus, what a quarterback to get to that, to make that CIS jump.
Yeah, he was really incredible player. From Hudson Bay,
Hudson Bay,
yeah,
and, exactly. And we a guy named Ed Bankowski, a longtime director with us. He drove me up because I get lost all the time. He drove me to Hudson Bay, and we met with Daryl and his family and looked at some video, I guess, up there at that time, and came away and we go like, man, this guy's he's like 6'4", he's 215 pounds, and he's coming out of high school. He did some amazing things for us in junior, and then he went to play for the Dinos. But you know what's weird is Ron Lancaster was coaching the Edmonton Eskimos after the '95 season. So in '96, he was coaching the Eskimos, and he called me, or I called him because they were going to take Darryl to camp, and I said, "Are you serious about this guy? Like, he's junior football, he's Canadian. Are you serious?" And he goes, "Frank, I'm serious. He won't be number one, he won't be number two, but he'll be number three." And Darryl went up there and had a pretty solid camp and did well in an exhibition game here in Regina, but he chose to go to the Dinos, which was really weird. The UFC went to the Dinos, and I think he played a season or 2 seasons there. Wasn't getting the shot that he wanted to, and then decided to come back to us, and certainly carried us through some great things through 2000, 2001. Yeah,
no, he was so good. Quickly, we got a couple minutes left here. Are you following the Riders? Like, what's your take on the Riders here in Winnipeg?
Every so often I phone Mark Mueller, but I only phone him when they're losing. Like, everybody wants to jump. When a guy's winning, they go, "Hey, congratulations, wonderful for you." But I called him after the Labor Day game, and he was very sad after Labor Day. But I did get him giggling and laughing, and certainly we made fun of all the people that are easy to make fun of. But how they'll do, I who knows? I predicted the USA elections wrong, so I don't know that I'm a great predictor here, but certainly they're going to do well, and I know they're going to be prepared, and really wish all the best to those guys that are playing, and obviously especially Mark.
30 seconds left here. I've wanted to ask this question to Sarge, to Brian Towers, and now I'm going to ask it to you. Was there ever a chance that you were going to make a jump to the pro ranks back in the day?
I was asked to go and guest coach, for example, with the Riders, but I didn't. I was teaching back then, and when I looked at it, what was best for my family, I wasn't interested in. So I didn't pursue that hard, and the other thing I told them is, when people ask me, I'm a head coach, man. I'm not doing the coordinating or area stuff. So.
Frank, this is awesome. We're going to do this again. Thanks so much. I guess go Rams and go Huskies, or go Rams and go Riders this weekend. Yeah, thanks so much again, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay, thank you. Good to talk to you.
And I'm Frank McCrystal.